Let's talk about truth because true CTF is so interesting to me. I usually like to opt for like a 3-1 flex towards P side, where when I say 3-1 flex, usually like three players playing P side, but you have a flex player that can opt into that middle route if he needs to go into the middle route, or that can help Car or that can help P. He's really going to be like that middle player. Sometimes you see that player go just stay in the windows to help or move top mid. What's your preferred team composition coming into a start of Coliseum of true CTF?
It depends who we're playing.
Ooh.
That's the real answer. Depends, who you're playing, and if a team likes to stack Car heavy, then maybe you might want to just stack Pink and get secure the camo 100%. They're gonna have two guys Car.
Well, what we're going to see is a 3-1 push from this red team. Charlie trying to do the same thing. He's actually going to be able to dodge that first nade, but it's Volunteer sitting on that P-Street that's going to back him on down. I want to check what's going on that bottom half of the map. We see the camo is gone. I believe it got burned. We'll do a little switch around and see who's where. But yeah, Volunteer, big plays by him. He gets in that P-Tower. He finds two and then finds the assist on the third. Looking great for the blue team. It looks as if they've figured out a couple of their kinks, and they're coming out a bit stronger in this replay of game one.
Right, looks like they're already being aggressive. They got red team on the back pedal, but as we see that, we saw blue team already lost one player, so they're just trying to stay alive here. But wonder if Stu, so he's gonna opt to pull it now. Looks like it could be a scrappy pull through P side, but he does have his other teammate spawning and going through Pink. Probably gonna be a return for sure, so we'll see if blue team can come back and get the map control and slay out their base. Looks like they only have to take out a couple players in their base right now. Everything completely flipped.
Yeah, it's surprising how fast that happened, And I think that was largely due to Oddity. Oddity immediately got himself into that bubble. He played as fast as possible, kept these players in the back of their base, and all of a sudden they're trapped in the bottom of their base. Crusher's finding kills. Oddity's got the pull, but great nades from Joy Slays are going to come out and stop that flag short. And all of a sudden, it looks as if we're having a flip again, Callus, to what was happening before, where we saw red team's pull get the blue team's pull get shorted out. Maybe red team in a similar situation as Taze is trying to land these cross map shots on the flag, and he just gets that player one shot. Oh, Expertise able to live, but eventually taken out by the native Volunteer.
Wow, we still get these clutch stops, and I think this cycle of lives is very important because the camo's gonna be dropping here in about like 25 seconds. We'll see if Stu can live. He's behind two players in red team. I'm not sure if they even know. Now they know. That was a good trade at least. We're gonna have numbers here if we can slay that last player out.
I mean, if they didn't, now they absolutely do. No, Volunteer got behind all of them. Unfortunately, only to take two down for his efforts. I didn't quite check it, but if he would have had a nade there, I think he could have just skipped a nade in front of those two players at window, look to his right, and take down the third. It might have been one of the sickest plays, but I'm pretty confident that he didn't have a nade in that situation. But it's always something to keep in track of. I know I'm a terrible player when it comes to that, but just having your nades up and ready and the ability to always use them at the correct time is such a beneficial thing. I think it's one thing that players can really improve in their game.
Right, and we just saw the camo was burned at 40, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was like the early 40s. I believe it got burned. So we'll see if that plays an impact in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, that flank earlier too. I gotta also, it's too late now, but we gotta remember there are frag grenades that spawn on the back of the base, so you can always just grab those even if you're out of grenades. When you're coming in for that flank, just pick up the two right there in the back base and use them in your back pocket. Not sure if they were there though.
Yeah, it's something that you've always been so good at, Laz. Is just knowing where each nade is on the map. No, it's like I have that general knowledge of where those nades are. It's just I don't alter my routes to pick up those nades. And I noticed that with some of the more premier players is that they'll alter their routes off spawn to go pick up a set of stickies to go have those extra two nades to use in their gunfights. I know that players that we play with, like Jolly Josh, I see him do it all the time. I feel like that's something that I could bring to my game, and maybe something that some of these players in this lobby could bring to their game just to improve it just that little bit.
Yeah, it's huge, and I mean, like, that's honestly just, I gotta shout out Thurlian, he was always on it when we were watching film, and he would literally question me when Halo 5 first came out. Do you know where all the nades spawn? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then, no, I didn't know. And he
started testing you.
I had no idea. Yeah, and so it's huge because, like you said, like these players, if it's just more tools, and I think the better you are, you're gonna want to be greedy with tools because that's your advantage in Halo. You don't get to spawn and pick what you spawn with, so you might as well hoard whatever you can if it's not too far out of the way. With that said, though, we got 20 seconds for the next camo, and red team has a flag pulled, so we got a double dilemma going on here. Hopefully they prioritize the flag if they can.
Yeah, Taze got the kill on the player at flag, but then he took that weird route where he had to give up his positioning on Card Street to go all the way to the middle just to try to get the return. He gets baited out by 3 players, and now Strally giving Joyce Lays a little bit of a backspec in the middle, and it's looking not great for blue team. I don't know. In that situation, I feel as if Taze has to just keep his lane, know his role, let someone else go in and make that decision to go return that flag. Maybe go focus on getting some top control, try to stop these players from getting camo. But at the end of the day, they get camouflage, they get that flag that should have probably been returned from that big kill that Taze got, and then they rally out another one just like that. And what was looking like a more competitive game all of a sudden just turns on its head. 2 flag caps, and I think about 30 seconds at the end right there, Callus.
Yeah, that was definitely a bummer to see. Well, if you're a blue team fan, at least, red team's got both. They got the cap and they kept the camo, which, it was kind of difficult. I was wondering to see if it was going to be kind of a trade-off split, if they were going to maybe get the cap and, not get the camo, or get the camo and get the cap returned, but they got both. And that's not what you want to see. Game over right there.
Yeah, and it even came down to to the fact where red team was completely set up for that camouflage, right? We saw one player on the blue P street, one player at the red P street, then one player sitting P1. They melted the player that went for that flag return. I believe it was Taze. And then they immediately used that timing that they had from getting that kill. They had the player on their P street push forward for the flag. The player that had camo push forward into the opposing base so that he could just retain their timing. And they felt pretty confident that they could get that flag out. And it looked as smooth as possible getting those 2 flags in back to back.
All right, so for Rig here, definitely want to see, we saw blue team come out hotter swinging on that second replay, but they just weren't able to execute when they had all the pieces in place. So we'll see. We're starting off with Barry here, Joyce Lays. Wondering if he's going to go for the camera right now, seeing if he can maybe play for a burn, but he goes down already.
The one thing I love to do on that start that Joyce Lays has is you can jump yourself up and you can actually run on that little tiny barricade that's on the catwalk. And you can use that momentum to get yourself a jump and slide into the white corner. And you can actually, if you get the correct spawn, you can play that so fast that you can get to the camouflage before blue team can even get there. It's one of the rare spots that on red team that you can get into the camo position before the bunker spawning team. But expertise, scatter shot, sniper rifle, camouflage. What else can you ask for? He has basically everything on the map. Let's see if he makes something happen with it.
All right, he's taking a sneaky flank around. He's got to make sure he makes the shots count because he's got every weapon in his pocket. If he gets seen out there, there's not too much he might be able to do if they're collapsing on you, but he's doing a good job living. Maybe he's going to be... I'm sure he's aware of the bunker spawns, but he's opting to go tower for a perimeter. This is a good safe route here if he can just delay the nades and not get hit by them. He's going to have a lot of attention on him for his teammates to hopefully spread out and help him secure some slaves, but we see him go down.
Right, and that's a situation of him recognizing the correct play. But at the end of the day, it's just the execution wasn't quite there. I like that play that he made where he jumps out of that tower and he hovers over the drill plat just for that second to let those nades land in the tower, hit his sniper shot over in that bunker, and then re-challenge in the tower. Because at the end of the day, you gotta hit those headshots on the bunker spawns. That's probably the easiest sniper shot to hit in Halo 5 because you know exactly where the spawn is. You should have that reticle placed perfectly. But Strally, he finds 3 players over the white corner, making another player 2 back-to-back double kills, and he's challenging for the triple. Strally's on something different. He finds the overkill. That was 6 kills in about 20 seconds right there, Laz.
Right, and if we can hop over here to Eli, I'm not sure who that is. It's a blue player. I think Swiftshot just picked up Sniper. Actually, no, Sniper's still on the floor. And Expertise is making a play to secure the camo. He just died. Camo's about to pop, and there's a Sniper right there on Whitehall with a couple of bullets left. I'm wondering if Swift he picked up camo at 48.
Yeah, but I would have liked to see him keep that elevation, go back into the Whitehall, and grab that sniper rifle.
Grab that sniper.
I think that just comes down to team communication. Someone on the team has to be like, hey, the sniper's here. Let's go get it. That being said, this blue team, it looks as if they're starting to figure it out. They got this camouflage. They got a couple kills in their favor. They're hunting down Crusher over this engine 1. Scatter shot's going to go in their favor, but Volunteer was able to grab that sniper rifle that was once on the ground. And let's see if he gets taken down right away. But Swiftkill still has this camouflage. And that might be one of the more unfortunate punches that we'll see in this series. He missed. I cannot believe he's alive right now, lad.
I know. I thought there was another red top behind him in that.
I think that player...
up, though. This is huge and a good spot to... Just seeing this play out here. Looks like red team grabbed the snipe and they neutralized the camo player. So red team's on top of it again.
And they opt to pull this sniper to outside, which is it's an interesting play, right? They had the player over there. They thought it was clear. They're gonna come. They're gonna challenge these players, but they're opting to give out. They give up that inside control, and what that really does, it just puts pressure on your slayers, right? Now you have to execute on finding these kills in the white hall, find the kills in the tower, and find your get the leverage that you need to position yourself into that tower, into that white corner, so you can use that sniper on those bunker spawners. But so far, Expertise doing a wonderful job. He landed that headshot on the player over in Engine 2, and then found another kill. But I don't know who that was that moved into that bunker. But lads, in my opinion, I would want to open up that bunker, move my sniper rifle into tower 2, still keep that outside spawn for the moment being, because you have the white corner control, you have the tower control, force the bunker spawns, let your sniper have the easiest possible job. Unfortunately, they opt to block out that bunker spawn. The opposing team spawns at yellow corner and takes away their sniper.
I'm not sure that that play rotated there, and he may have spawned there, because immediately after we saw the sniper was rotating towards tower, and he got picked off from yellow. So I'm wondering if maybe he was being collapsed on the whole time, and I got a split spawn there bunker. Not entirely sure, but we do see Swift 4-shot picked up the camo, and unfortunately went away from his team and got killed. Oh no, but you know, it's a close game. This is definitely closer than the last objective we saw, so
yeah,
I'm wondering to see what can we hop on board with someone from blue team and see if they can get something going, because they've been on the back foot, but this is the closest they've been.
Yeah, we're actually on with Swift as he's trying to find this player over at Catwalk. You know, great job so far by Team Taze to make sure they're on top of like the camouflage, getting those scatter shots and things. I think that's really reason why they're in this game. The red team, I believe, got that first camouflage. Everyone after that has gone to the blue team. It's just Taze's team just hasn't executed as well as they can with getting those camouflages, right? We saw the player jump up, he gets back smacked on the catwalk, which is unfortunate, but you have to make those camouflages count. And now all of a sudden, Crusher's pushing your players over at yellow corner. He's gonna find the double kill. Luckily it's traded out, but this close game, all of a sudden, an 11-point lead has sprouted on out for Team Strally, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. They know these players are spawning on the inside. On the outside, and they are just pushing in. Strally finds 2 with the 3rd just ahead of him, and that's another triple kill for Strally. He's doing something absolutely different in this game. You can just tell his positioning is so on point. He always knows where to be as he finds himself another kill in that basement. I'm gonna say right now, Strally definitely an MVP of this game. He didn't do it with the power weapons, he did it with his pistol and better positioning, and that's gonna secure his team the victory in this game.
Yeah, I don't really see this game lasting much longer. It's probably going to end before the next camo drops. And just judging off of the last 2 games and how we've seen blue team not be able to execute with the camo, it just feels like we need to see them play more expanded instead of doubling up. And maybe that'll help them in the future actually execute and make some slays happen and go in their favor when they have these power-ups. But right now, Charlie's got the sniper. We've been seeing him do work. I'm wondering if he's going to be the one to close it out, or if he's just kind of baiting himself now. Hopefully his team will clean it up. And he's ready for the white hall push.
Camouflage did come up. Eli has that camouflage.
Did come up, yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to move from Charlie, but I want to go check out the camouflage. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to see what Charlie does for a little bit longer. I'm going to move on with the camouflage. We have to go with him, right? If there's something that's going to happen in this game, maybe he can cause it to happen. That being said, it's not going to look likely as there's only 1 kill left to go. Charlie does eventually get taken out.
Ready for the comeback?
You know, this would be a sick one if it happened. Swift Shot still has about a quarter.
Yep. Ready for the bunker split? They don't even. Oh no! The one thing. If he had gone to that treehouse engine 3, maybe he would have had a better opportunity and known that he can get some vision there and tell his teammates if they're going through tower, if they're going E2. But he went into E2, which is definitely a spot they're going to be checking. You hate to see it.
And it's like, it's definitely not like a bad play from Swift to use that camouflage to get into Engine 2. It's just I feel as if some players are too content with what camouflage brings them, right? It gives you that edge where you're harder to see, but it's not like as if you're impossible to see. If you know players are spawning in bunker, you're not gonna generate yourself that much of a benefit from going into Engine 2 with that camouflage. Like maybe you can get an easy back smack if the player just runs past you, but I'd rather play that Engine 3 area, that overlook. Let those players push into Engine 2, because when you're camouflaged and you're above the opposing team, that's when they really have a tendency to not see you, especially when you're not moving. He could have potentially gotten an easy back smack in that Engine 2. He can watch tower wall. He has a lot of escape routes. You know, that being said, he was on top of those camouflage times. I just would ask him whether he could maybe change his routes a little bit, get a little bit more comfortable with just generating that advantage that the camouflage gives you, and then just use that camouflage advantage to to get an advantage in the gunfight and win your gunfights. It's not going to do all the work for you. You don't get this free pass to just go push everything that you want to push. You just have to use the camouflage and incorporate it into a normal gameplay.
So we'll see how they use this one. This map's notorious for having both power-ups in the map, and the team that can sneak away with both at some point and control that time clock is going to be having a big advantage. But it's not just Slayer, it's OBJ. And we know Red Team has been really strong for the OBJ. And they delayed it. Looks like Red Team secured the first OS, but I think Camo was burnt.
No, Barry has the camo, so I'm actually going to stay on with the camo player for now. And this is the biggest debate. This is one of the biggest debates in the Halo community, right? What do you prefer? Do you get the overshield or do you get the camouflage? And Joycelay's trying to make a case for the camouflage, moving towards the middle of the map, finding one kill, trying to stay alive and find more. Strally still does have a little bit of that overshield left. And Joycelay's just trying to do his best to survive. And he is eventually going to find Strally, gets the punch in, finds the kill. Unfortunately, it did come at the cost of a trade. And now he's trying to find one more player, and unfortunately, just not enough bullets in the chamber to make that kill go down in his favor.
That would have been the slay to maybe help them either keep the camo player expanding to the opposite base and then make a play for both and basement to give that double dilemma, or just secure pit depending on how the slays went. But they needed to secure that win. So now we see blue team just wrapping around. It looks like they only have one. They have a player on Carbine, 2 guys here in tower. If they can maybe see the Carbine player wrap all the way around right now. They don't have to go for pit. We talk about that a lot, is maybe Eli can wrap all the way and get behind Jeff on red base. It looks like he's doing that right now. We might see blue team make a play for both bases here.
See it, Eli
fly back at red.
Yeah, problem is the Slays have to come across somewhere, and unfortunately he was in the base and his teammates ended up falling down across the map.
Nobody went for pit. Yeah, it's like everyone needs to fly pit while they fly back at red base. See the rest of the team capitalize on that door being closed, and okay, we're gonna go pit now, and just kind of, you know, puppeteering them back and forth, make red team fly from red to back to pit, back to red, back to pit. Eventually we'll get the slays and run it in your favor.
Right, and it's really up to that player that's making that overextension play, because that when you make that OE play, right, you have to be the one that recognizes it, and then as soon as you get in, you have to dictate to the rest of your team, go for pit. We have to give them this dilemma. You can't just afford them the opportunity to stop both positions, right? You make them choose. Right. Are we getting pit, or are we maintaining our home base? And a lot of times the team chooses one and then they're put out of position and you just execute on your next kill. But Swift, he was on top of the camouflage last game. It looks as if he's on top of the overshield this game. He's opting just to go straight into red base. He has 0 points on the board and he's trying to stop the bleed of the trip cap. Just has this overshield, using it to get this base for his team. I actually want to switch around for a second. Crusher is the player that has that camouflage, and he's right behind this player over at the bend. I believe that was the overshield player, and it currently is the overshield player, and he gets a little bit of an assassination on that player.
That's why they call him Crusher.
Yeah, you know, just
right
you just hear the bones in the back crush every time he makes his play. But he's going to be able to secure that red base. And so far, it just seems really comfortable from Team Strally at the moment. Doesn't seem as if they're having much resistance anywhere on the map.
Yeah, and I just watched, watching on, you know, on the side here, aside from the mixer stream, you know, players on blue team are spawning in tower. They're in a U setup, and they're literally spawning and going into pit and then dying immediately. So that's one of the things you don't want to see. You want to see kind of, now we have a side base control for blue. Hopefully they can stop the bleeding, or, you know, get some points on the map, because it is still a goose egg, but there's still some time left. And it looks like blue team's going for both again, so this might be the chance, but no one's looking red front court.
And Strally, yeah, I think this is it. But you were talking about that, right? When you spawn in tower, you don't just go for pit, right? We talk about the philosophy that you talk about all the time: outside, outside, in. You spawn up, you check your perimeters. Do you have a side base control? Do you have players that are working towards that control? If it's no, then you have to expand that way, get yourself some side base control, and then push your way into pit. But that being said, first points on board for the blue team. This is a map that can change at any point in time. You can just switch your momentum, and the trip cap is now in effect. Let's see how long they can ride this momentum, and if they can get themselves back into this game, as Joycelay's just got the next camouflage.
Great to see. We have a game now, And the trip cap is still going. And you know, no matter what, 74, 76 is 0. Having a trip cap player, you can bring back a lot of points really, really fast. All they have to do now is just stay above and recognize, okay, we're losing 2. Pick 1 of the side bases to fight for. It looks like red was the easiest base. They're just kind of staying in. Okay, they secured blue. Awesome. There you go. I wasn't sure based on what the camo player was doing.
But the camo player,
they just want to secure these 2 and then they push in, put the aggression. I know that you like putting the aggression forward, so I know you're happy to see them pushing forward here, trying to reestablish that trip cap, but they're all going down, unfortunately.
But Joy Slays, he saw the kill feed. He tried catching out that player that went towards the pit. Unfortunately for him, wasn't quite able to execute on that kill. They are, oh, never mind. Expertise able to get into the base in time and stop that home base. And that might be the nail on the coffin. That's going to stop their momentum. We're going to have to play out for a reset. And you only have 20 ticks if you are on this blue team to make that reset happen. But I liked what Joy Slays did with his life right there with the camouflage. I thought he played it extremely well, right? He got that noob combo right away, baited the pit. He got a little bit into the pit, jumped out of it, baited it with that noob combo, then eventually took down that overshield player. It just comes down to individual execution across the map. You have to get your kills when they matter, right? When you have that momentum, when you're pushing out for those trip caps, when you're regaining your control, it's so important to execute on those kills. And you know, we say that it's easier said than done. You know, you have to shoot those 5 perfect shots sometimes to make it happen. That being said, blue team looking like a different beast on the second half of this game. The question is it too little, too late? Like this should have been happening around that 40 point mark. I feel as if they let them get a couple too many rounds of Slays, and now they're getting punished for it as Joy Slays trying to do his best to survive in that base, but he did exactly what was needed. He drew players back, and they're going to be able to get that pit because of what he did in that base. But once again, it's just going to have to come down to the individual slaying talent on Team Taze.
They're doing a really good, if blue team can continue to trade and they're doing a really good job of rotating hills, I think they can keep this game going and maybe we can see a comeback, but they have to continue to do what they're doing, which is again trading off Slays and trading off the rotations on the hills. They're not wasting any time, and we've seen a couple in the last 30 seconds, couple of times where the side bases were in contention and got reset, but they're doing such a good job rotating. Let's see if they can keep it up here. Strawley has the camo though, and he's flanking in to secure the pit,
and it's able to get it.
Stop this red base.
And yeah, all he has to do is stand in here for just a second. Is it long enough? No, they do get the cap off in time. If the comeback happens, it's going to be at the narrowest of margins possible. That overshield player does eventually get burned. I want to figure out who's this player. It's Oddity that's in the red base, but the opposing team is going for the mid. He's trying to get on this red base. The contest does come in time. They get the stop, but now Crusher loses his individual fight. This is the momentum that blue team's been looking for. But as those kills went down, they've been splitting across the map, and Swift 4-shot gets his important kill, but now Expertise captures that base, and that's gonna do it. It was an interesting strategy that both teams sending 2 players to each base, just praying. Red team was just praying that they win on one side. They won on the red base, and then they cap that red base, get themselves the 2 cap, get that last tick on board. But man, blue team, they're scratching. They were trying to keep themselves in that game. It just seems as if the effort or the momentum that they got in that game was just about 20-40 points too late.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And we see, you know, the Slays, there's a disparity here. Obviously, blue team having some players going double negative, and that definitely affects it. But we saw Taves was making plays towards the end, like you were saying. Maybe it was a little bit too late, but it was exciting to watch the comeback, and we love to see those possibilities, right? Especially casting it. It's just nothing's more exciting than watching a game feel like it's going to end at 99, and then psych, it's going. It's still going. We wanted to see that comeback.
We're still taking out, but we're going to repick teams, so we're going to get ourselves a little bit of a break. I'm going to get a glass of water and whatever we need to do. We'll get our teams reset. That's a 3-0 in that 8's lobby for Team Strawley.